Hey everyone, today we've got an awesome case study of a patient with knee pain. In this video, we're going to talk you through the subjective history and objective assessment for this patient before guiding you through what our clinical reasoning was behind their diagnosis. So if you're ready, let's dive in. Let's dive into the subjective history as the start of our case study. So we have an 18-year-old female who's presenting with right anterior knee pain. Now, she denies any trauma, injury, or mechanism that started her knee pain, but she has been finding this gradual onset of symptoms that's been going on for the last 5 months. When we ask her about special questions for the knee, she denies any locking, any giving way, or any swelling. But she does notice that it is irritable, particularly when she's squatting in the gym, when she's running in netball or doing these lunging maneuvers in netball. Clearly netball is her main thing, and she's been finding that this has been irritating her game as of late. Things that ease her symptoms. Well, sometimes if she takes some anti-inflammatories, it can help, and she finds herself sometimes taking anti-inflammatories before a game or after a game in order to manage her symptoms. And sometimes she uses ice. Now, we know that ice doesn't have a huge amount of impact on the body, but it can have an impact on pain relief. Sometimes it can be useful for that, and that's what she's been doing. Otherwise, she's a very healthy young lady, she's fit and well, no major red flags, just this ongoing knee pain that's been troubling her. So next, let's go through her objective examination. So we find that this patient can walk around the clinic with a normal gait pattern, and small distance walking like this doesn't irritate her symptoms. However, what does irritate her symptoms is palpation, particularly when we're mobilizing the patella from medial to lateral, or even if we're putting a little bit of downward pressure on the patella, it seems to irritate her symptoms. When we palpate the joint line of her knee, both medially and laterally, it doesn't seem to irritate her symptoms. And in fact, she can provide us with full active range of movement of both the hips and the knees, and this is not painful for her. We do some of her key ligament tests, such as ACL, MCL, LCL, and PCL testing. All of those do not show us any concerning features. And when we look at a little bit of strength testing, we try a double leg squat, which she is able to perform, but it seems to be painful for her. And when we look at a genuine straight leg raise with the patient lying supine and then lifting up their legs, we find that one leg is much more well controlled, the left leg, but the right leg is a little bit less well controlled. So that's the history and the exam for this patient. Take a few seconds to work out what you think might be going on for this particular patient. So everyone, hopefully you've had your chance to think about your diagnosis. Let's give you ours. So we diagnosed this particular patient with patellofemoral pain. And actually, I would argue that this is quite a classic case of patellofemoral pain for many different reasons. First of all, this patient has anterior knee pain. We always find that patellofemoral pain presents with anterior knee pain. There are a couple of different structures around the anterior knee. We have the patella and the patellofemoral joint, as we said. We've got the quadriceps tendon, we've got the patella tendon, sometimes with Hoffer's fat pad. When you palpate into that anterior joint line, you can find that to be painful. So what differentiates patellofemoral pain from those others? Well, first of all, patellofemoral pain can be thought of as a diagnosis of exclusion. So we palpate the quads tendon to see if that's not painful. We palpate the patella tendon itself to see if that's not painful, particularly the inferior pole of the patella where the patella tendon is suggested to start. And that's not painful for our patient. And then we can palpate the joint line, as we said, both anteriorly, medially, and laterally, and we said that that wasn't painful for our patient. So that increases the suggestion that patellofemoral pain is likely to be the issue here. We also find that on mobility of the patella, that was increasingly sore. And the other key thing about our palpation, as we said, the joint line palpation was not tender. The key structure along the joint line is the menisci. So if we palpate medially and laterally, doesn't cause any symptoms, and that's reflected in the history, we can be relatively sure with this patient they don't seem to have a meniscal problem in this regard. Other things to consider. Number one, the lack of trauma, the lack of injury. When we do think about things like, particularly in an 18-year-old, a ligamentous injury, an ACL or an MCL or a meniscal injury is much more likely to coincide with a particular mechanism of injury, a particular trauma, patient saying, yes, it was on this day, on that match, that's when it happened. And of course, that's not the case for her. And also, when we think about some of the other different features of her exam which can be consistent with patellofemoral pain, number one, the squatting and lunging being SORN for her. So why is that? Well, if I grab my knee model here, we can talk about it. So the patellofemoral joint engages at around about 20 to 30 degrees. As you can see here, when I go from 0 degrees to around 30 degrees of flexion, that's when the patella sits in the patellofemoral joint. So if we think about movements like squatting and lunging, that situation where we go from full extension towards flexion, we start to move the patella in the patellofemoral joint, and that's what aggravates her symptoms. So look out for that pain around about 20 to 30 degrees if someone's squatting. And also the reduced control of the straight leg raise. Now that doesn't tell us, it must be patellofemoral pain, but it gives us a clue. It might tell us that the quadriceps are not working as well. Quadriceps perhaps not quite strong enough, and that might lead us to suspect that this patient has an issue that the weak quads impacts, which is going to be her patellofemoral pain. I think the other key thing to mention is the fact that she has relatively full range of movement. If we're thinking about a major ligament injury, a major meniscal injury, it would be surprising that a patient had a particular meniscal injury where they had full range of movement which wasn't causing them any pain at all. So I suppose that also points into the patellofemoral direction for this particular patient. So everyone, I really hope you've enjoyed this case study. If you have, please support us by smashing that like button and write more in the comments if you want more of these. Remember, we've got some amazing resources on our Instagram account @ClinicalPhysio, and we've got a full patellofemoral pain course from Dr. Bradley Neal and Dr. Simon Lack, two expert researchers in the world of patellofemoral pain, and you can find the link for that in the description below as well. So thank you so much for watching. My name's Khalid. See you soon here on Clinical Physio.